I'm going to make a video here on this firearm. I've had it for like a long time, for years, and that I didn't realize I never actually did. I featured it in other videos, but I've never actually done its own little video. And kind of the reason why is because it's kind of an obscure manufacturer anyways. This firearm is a Chaparral Arms 4440. They were available here where I'm from in Canada. They were available through Marstar, which is a big firearms dealer, surplus dealer, and I really don't know. I mean, other than, like, when it comes to the company, other than that, I really don't know anything about them. They're an Italian company, and I'll review this. I'll show this firearm closer up. But I don't know if they were available in the United States. I haven't seen any information about the company. I don't know if they're like a subsidy of, like, there's like Uberti and Pieta and all those like Italian companies. I don't know if they have anything at all to do with them, because this is like it's a really quality product, and I have had my hands on a couple other of their products. I had originally, before I bought this, I actually bought the Chaparral 45 Colt, but there was a quality issue with it. Like, one of the cylinders wasn't drilled properly, which I'll talk about in a second. But I also had their 1876 Winchester. I think it was in 4560, I believe, the caliber. It was a replica of the Northwest Mounted Police lever action, and it was probably one of the most beautiful firearms that I've ever come across. It was a and considering the price, it was actually like an amazing firearm. So they made pretty good quality stuff. Again, I say I'll show this, but I wanted to just mention about like these Italian firearms, because it seems like something they all sort of had to deal with. Like, say this period would have been between, let's say, the late 90s to maybe to the mid, like, 20-teens, maybe. I'm not sure, but they had like really beautiful firearms like this one here. And other companies, you know, they do the black powder exclusives and that, beautiful firearms, but they seem to suffer from quality control really bad. Like, almost all of the companies, it's almost like you can't really bash the company and say this company's crap. Like, say this Chaparral, I don't know why they don't have more firearms than that, because I wouldn't bash the company, because sometimes they make really beautiful firearms, other times there's quality issues with them. It's just kind of the Italian gun making industry around these type of like replica firearms. It's like kind of a strange thing the way they are. But I'll show this pistol, which is a replica of the 1873 Colt single action, and I also think this is the first model. I don't know if this is the very first model, but I believe it's the first. Like, there's, I think, 3 iterations when it comes to the single actions, because it doesn't have the screw in the grip. Later ones are very easy to tell. They have a screw in the grip, and they also have the plastic grips and that later. And I think it has something to do with the amount of screws also. I'm not a big single action expert or anything. I mean, I just appreciate that they're a beautiful firearm. So we'll have a look, and when it comes to this firearm, everything about it is absolutely beautiful. You can see the case hardening, how it's just absolutely amazing on there. The hammer, all of the details. You can see the fit and finish. Like, you can just barely see that there's any transition between the metalwork. And, like, everything is excellent. The grips on the 45 Colt one that I had got were actually nicer than this one. They were oiled, almost like a semi-gloss or glossy finish, which I wish I could have had those grips on this pistol, but I mean, it's perfectly fine. You get what you get. These are probably closer to original anyways. But here's the nice bluing on the barrel there, and our front sight and everything. We'll have a look at our muzzle. You can see how nice it is. And we'll flip it around here. Yeah, there's no markings or anything. This is a part of the problem. I don't know, because I can't remember, so long ago I got this. If this had a specific name to it, it could have been just called like the Chaparral single action, or it might have just been called, you can see on the barrel, it just says Chaparral 4440. That might have been the whole name on there. I don't know the actual model number or anything. And then here's our perfectly fine. There's no binding at all. Really beautiful. And then if you, I'll get the or try to get the cylinder out here in a second. But look at that case hardening. How beautiful that is. You can see why like the outlaws back in the day really loved them. Like my favorite outlaw was Alec Baldwin. Like he was. Like he preferred this firearm. Like his nickname, if you can't find him, it was the Lady Killer, and he really preferred this firearm, and I can see why. Like it's quite a nice looking. I mean, it's just that classic Colt Old West, and also you can see on here the checkering on the hammer, and of course you've got your multiple clicks. The firing pin also is not a dedicated firing pin. It does like it is press fit in here, so if it broke off you could replace it. They never cheapened out on that. Like it's a very like true close copy to the original, and I haven't done it in a while, so I will flip her around here and see if we can get the cylinder, the pin and everything out. One of the other problems with that 45 caliber one I had was there was something about the rod here. It wasn't relieved here or something, so this could just slip out on its own. But here's our rod here for the cylinder. I'll flip that open. I mean, there's our like, I don't know if you call it a forcing cone or not, because it's just the back of the barrel and all of our little internal components there. I don't know if it's too dark to show up on camera or not. I'll put her there, and then here's our cylinder. You can see how they've kept to the shoe cylinder here. They've got that extra little rebate there, and you get your scratches on there. And then here's our cylinder, which is numbered and marked. What happened with the 45 was one of these here, they never cut this little edge here, so the round would not push down into the cylinder. It would actually stick up. You can see our little gear here and our cylinders. Like everything is just quality. Everything is really nice on this pistol. And then here's the front of our cylinder here. Actually probably should be cleaned up again. But yeah, so you can see how decent of a firearm this thing actually is. Very beautiful. And these were basically, I mean, at the time they were budget friendly, considering what else was out there. I believe Uberti, I think Uberti was the big like expensive, if top of the line, if you wanted to get a really decent replica. But this thing I think was absolutely beautiful. I don't know how to line this. I'll just line it up later so I don't fumble with it too much here. And the last thing I wanted to mention was, like, I have fired this quite a bit, well, as long as I could find ammo, and I didn't realize the first time I took it out that this ammunition I had for it was actual period correct ammunition. It was actually like late 1800s manufacture, and like what happened was I had got a couple duds, and then a couple went off, and I had a massive hang fire on one of them. You can see they were actually like black powder rounds, and I had contacted an ammunition group, and I said, like, you know, when were these made? Here, I'll see if we can look at the head stamp a little better. You can see the UMC. And I said, like, when were these made? And they said they were actually original rounds from back in the 1800s. I had assumed, because of how nice the lead is, that these were newer manufactured. Like, here's our head stamp there. I think some of them are even jacketed. I don't know if the ones I shot were jacketed or not. Let's see if I got a jacketed one in here. Maybe I don't. But anyways, I thought just because of how nice the lead was that these were newer production, because I've seen old ammunition, particularly when you get that old Snyder and Martini Henry ammunition, you get the that white corrosion crap all over the lead, and sometimes the lead even looks black sometimes, but the ammunition, like the lead, looked perfectly fine, so I just shot them up. I didn't realize how old they were, but they, for how old they were, actually, they held up pretty good. A couple of them went off anyways. I didn't want to go too long of a video because there's not really a whole lot I can talk about this Chaparral production, because I really don't know about the company. I'm almost positive that they are no longer around, and as far as its availability anywhere else in the world other than from here, in Canada, I don't know if they're available in the United States or anything like that. But it is a quality firearm, but there's also the warning of you really have to inspect it. You have to take it out and practically shoot it, because I didn't know that the 45 caliber one had that issue before I actually took it out. And so these things are beautiful, and for the price they are, I mean, you could get it and just have it in your collection as a representation. You don't actually have to shoot it. It's a beautiful firearm. This is just my video on the Chaparral like Colt single action army clone in 4440, and other than that, thank you for watching.